that interferes with their very thought processes. When you have thoughts and you can see them in an MRI machine or something, or a machine that can reproduce colors based on the intensity of a point of energy, the human brain experiences waves of energy as the neurons in your brain fire and then send the electrical signal through the interconnects, much like a microprocessor, to other neurons. And you see waves of energy blasting through the brain as people experience thoughts, feelings, emotions. And you'll find that if you do the research, mind you, I mean, for those of you that haven't done the research, for those of you that won't care to do the research, you will find that those patterns have been manipulated heavily, and they are continuing to be manipulated. And these psychopathic control freaks that are running everything now, that are in all the highest positions of power in corporations and corporate structures, which is government, non-governmental organizations. I mean, it's just the whole gamut of these non-living entities that are organized by people. They are in the process of developing manipulation of the ability for you to have your own thoughts. And just like reality, this is going to start happening on a massive scale on multiple levels. And they've already implemented many of those levels. Chemicals in the water. Toxins through the food that you eat. We're talking about, again, the radiation in the air. Just blasting you with radiation. And they've definitely learned to affect the biological computer, which is your body. But they're still working on honing their weapons for controlling your mind on a mass scale. And I was just listening to Republic Broadcasting today, and one of the broadcast hosts, and they have multiple hosts on throughout the day. It's a very, very great source for just expanding your thought processes to include all kinds of ideas that you wouldn't get through an establishment like Carroll University or any other establishment of the government that is, again, controlled by these corporate control freak psychopathic elitists that aren't even elite. They just control a lot of people. Labor is the real source of wealth, and your labor is power. If we all chose to not serve the system, if we all chose to not comply with their tyranny, this thing would come to a stop in a heartbeat. And yeah, they would probably launch attacks and false flags and try and stir up scares. But if we understand as a general population that they're the ones that are trying to manipulate us, we identify them as the enemy, they can't beat us. And all it would take is a huge mass of us to march on their headquarters, grab these people, and lock them up, and then try them and hang them in the public square. It's very, very simple. The solution is very simple, but their mechanic of control is layers upon layers upon layers of transparencies, of diagrams, of manipulation, of the way we think about our very reality. Now, what I'm going to read later today is something that I wrote last night, and I'm going to continue to write it. And I don't know what's going to become of it. It's something that I've been thinking about writing, and I've started writing, and then I stopped because I just felt like I didn't know enough, or I wasn't inspired, or I just didn't have the perception of an understanding that I needed to really convey the sense of what it is that I know about this world in which we live. And the thing that I have often thought to myself, it's a thought, that is, everything that we think that we are discovering now has already been discovered. It's already been learned. We're just relearning what has already been learned. which explains why throughout history, when societies kill themselves, destroy themselves, disappear off the face of the planet, get conquered by other nations, they leave behind information. When one nation conquers another, what do? They grab the priests. They grab the scientists, the controllers, the advisors. They grab the people of knowledge, and they bring them into the conquering structures. So this whole notion of, we're discovering this for the first time or discovering that for the first time is absolutely nonsense. Just understand that now. Absolute nonsense. And I don't fear it. I understand it. At one point I did fear it, that it was happening. But I understand it now, that we are going through a process that has taken place many times over on the very smallest of levels in local communities, all the way up to entire empires that conquered the known earth. In what would be our known history, which is really a sliver of the amount of time that humans have been on this planet. And that existence extends well past, in time, the first recordings of the scriptures in the Bible. Now, those who would, invest their entire existence into the writings of the Holy Bible, I don't feel bad for them. I wish they would open up their mind and their thought processes to the idea that even they don't have the whole truth about the history of this planet. And we really don't. It's absolutely amazing what it is that I hear, and how when I take that little point and I see where it might connect to other points, the picture it becomes a little muddied because somebody puts their foot down in the water. But then when it clears, all of a sudden there's this new shape, there's this new understanding that takes place. So I'm going to play this clip about a Russian professor talking about how an earthquake weapon was used in Haiti. So here we go. Let's see what's playing. We got the air list playing here. Let me see if I can shut this down before we get going. All right, stop that. All right, here we go. Here's a Russian professor talking about the earthquake in Haiti.